Hi, I'm Mary Ann, and today I'm talking to Susan, and we're talking about kids with special needs. And we're going to talk about her son and when she discovered his special needs and when she got the diagnosis and so forth. So Susan, glad you're here.
Thank you for inviting me.
You are a wealth of information, so I'm excited to hear from you. And so talk to me a little bit about when you started noticing things were different with your son.
Oh, okay.
Way back.
Way back.
Yeah.
He was very little, and he was in daycare, and he didn't speak. And we just thought we had given birth to the perfect child. The child made no noise. It was awesome. Only the daycare, which was part of the school system.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got in touch and they were like, listen, you may think this is wonderful, but this is not how it's supposed to be. And he's our first. So we had no clue. So early on, he went to an early intervention program as part of the school system. And he would draw. But they helped him develop speech. And but then that's when we started watching because it was not as it should have been.
Okay.
He wasn't.
But what you said is you actually, it was a while before you actually got a diagnosis, wasn't
it? Oh, totally.
It?
We were living in New Jersey. Casey went to school in New Jersey, and it wasn't until middle school we moved, when Casey was in 7th grade, we moved to Virginia, and we lucked into an appointment at the University of North Carolina's Institute for Child Development.
Okay.
And we took him there. And it was those nice people who told us that your son has autism and he's high functioning, but that's what's going on. Because we were like, we need a clue as to, we've talked about learning disabilities with different people. He's seen an occupational therapist, a speech therapist. He has an IEP in school.
All that was happening, but there was no diagnosis.
We had told it might have been like I forget what it's called. It's PDD, something developmental display. Pervasive developmental display, and what used to be called minimum brain dysfunction.
Okay.
But nobody could put a handle on a label on it. So when we got here, we got that diagnosis, and
how did that feel?
Oh, it felt terrible. I was annoyed. I was relieved to get the diagnosis, and I was annoyed at the same time because at the time, I don't know if that's still the case, but at the time, New Jersey was considered the autism capital of the country. And to have come from New Jersey and like this amazing school district and not to have anybody catch it, that was annoying. Okay. But by the same token, I felt good that we had a handle on what it was, and that at the time, when we were leaving, they didn't send us off with work to do. We told them, they asked us what we were doing to help Casey at home. And my late husband was coaching football, and he had Casey playing football, and they were stunned that my son was playing football. And they said, whatever you're doing at home, you just keep doing it.
Doing well.
You just do what you're doing. You keep encouraging him. You keep encouraging him to develop his interests and his passions and to get good at something.
So you were already treating him as a neurotypical child at that point. Like he's a normal kid, and so...
Yeah, he had the IEP and everything, and he had a hard time. I mean, he was doing things like he would melt down at a birthday party. He wouldn't put his hands in the frosting to do the cupcakes at school.
So there's sensory stuff going on, too.
He had a hard time, like with the bathtub and the shower or what have you. And so there was something, and we didn't know what that something was, but we were trying to figure it out. So, but in the meantime, we were still like, all right, well, you got to go to school, and you're having a birthday party, and we'll stay with you, and we'll do what have you. And Stu was coaching football, and he got into coaching football so that Casey would play, and he would make friends. And my husband was a really smart guy. He picked the team based on the parents. So he was like, okay, those are nice parents.
There you go.
That'll be a nice kid. And he built our social network.
And you're out of here, right?
You're out of here. You are the bad seed. You're not playing football on our team.
Okay.
So
Power.
that's what he did, and he created the most amazing and still amazing environment and friends for him.
Wow.
So that's what we did.
So you were doing a lot of really good stuff for him, and I know that you had told me before that you were disappointed that he didn't get diagnosed till
12.
12.
Yeah.
But that you were already doing some really good stuff. You get lots of kudos for that.
We were trying.
But then you ran into some issues as he went into high school, I think, right?
Yeah. At the time that he was diagnosed, they said, he's high functioning, you guys are doing a great job, but he's not ever going to live on his own. He's not going to drive. and he's not going to go to school. You're going to have him, forever. And you just, my husband was a Marine.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you see, that's not going to happen. When we moved, he did a couple of years, he did 1 year in 7th grade here, and then he did 2 in 8th grade because he felt that he needed more time to make friends. And then he went into the high school. And that was hard because he hit puberty, and puberty is tough on anybody. And so then when you have a developmental disability, at least I saw with my own son, went through him like a train, like just took him apart. And then he didn't want anybody's help. He didn't want help from, social skills coaches.
What a blessing that you got a few years of help before
Of good
that.
help before that. And then, he also didn't really want to hear from his dad anymore. That was kind of unfortunately out the window. But not completely, because while he didn't want to hear, we didn't give up. He had some really wonderful special ed teachers in the high school, and he had some excellent counselors who worked with him on his social skills. And then unfortunately, 2 years into high school, his dad got sick with cancer. And we were lucky because the school was on top of the situation so that I could take care of Stu.
Okay.
And also at the same time, we were seeing, a psychiatrist because, I needed one. And as it turned out, she used to be an oncologist. So she was super helpful, and she worked with Casey, and she got us in touch with a couple of folks in town who were young. They were therapists. One therapist in town who was this young guy who used to be a boxer from Philadelphia. And he hooked up with Casey, and light bulbs went off. And it was
they really
great.
connected well.
They really connected.
Okay.
Because for my son, and I think for lots of people who have autism or developmental disability, they want to be friends. They just don't know how to make friends. And making friends with people their own age is very difficult. The kids can be very, very cruel.
Yes.
And adults can look and say, you're just need to be a little bit more patient or what have you, or I get it. I get where you're coming from, kid. And this man, Leroy, was tremendous with my son. Took him to play basketball, took him out, got him involved in things, introduced him to a coach at the high school, who then got him involved in all kinds of stuff. And this kid eventually taught my son to drive.
Okay, so he can't drive, he won't go to school, he will never live on his own, all that prophecy of doom over your son, which is kind of something that happens from time to time. And you guys have to
it does happen.
Battle against that.
Yeah.
But now he's driving.
That's right.
And where is he now? How old is he now?
He is 24. He just turned 24.
Okay.
He has lived on his own now for almost 3 years.
Okay.
Like I said, he does drive, and he has his own job.
Give me a little bit about this transition, because I know that had to be hard.
It was really hard.
Because does he go to college? Does he move out on his own? Does he get a job? How do you handle that? Mom?
Well, it was shortly after his dad passed away. All of his friends were going off to college, and he went for a time to Lord Fairfax Community College. But when he came home one day and he said, we had a midterm today, and he didn't know there was a midterm, and he hadn't prepared for it, and he's not a traditional student. And I said, Case, I don't think that this is really for you. Like, he didn't understand how to prepare. He felt like he was surprised. It was unfair to him.
No IEPs in college.
No IEPs.
So nobody,
he had been
followed all the way from elementary school through high school with good, solid special ed teachers, right?
Right.
And now he's really on his own.
Then you fall into the abyss.
Yeah.
But we tried. He wanted to try, so we tried, and they were great. They tried too. But then he had the opportunity through the Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services to attend Woodrow Wilson, which is a rehab center in Fishersville, where they would teach him life skills and they would teach him to drive.
Okay.
So he went, and he hated it. And he wanted to come home, and that's all I kept hearing about. And I kept saying, please stay, please stay, please stay. At least I can do this stuff, I can take care of myself, but you can't drive. Stay for the driving portion of it. He stayed as long as he would stay, and ultimately this wonderful friend went down, picked him up, brought him home, and finished the driver training with him, which was great. So after his dad passed away, we did all that. And, he was angry. There's lots of anger still. He's not making friends. He's not got his dad. And he was acting out. So I said, your friends have gone on to college. Well, guess what? You're going to do something that's going to make them so jealous. You're going to get your own apartment. And he was like, what? I said, you are going to get your own apartment. You're going to live on your own. You're going to be the envy of all your friends. Heck, you're going to be envy of me, your mother, because I would love to have my own apartment. Okay? So I got him his own apartment, and it did not go well. It did not go well. No, there are a lot of people out there. I was stunned to find who will take advantage of a person with a disability. Then they think that the caregiver or the mother or what have you was not paying attention. They are in there and they're happy to take advantage. And he was almost taken advantage of on about 3 occasions.
Wow.
And but I'm lucky because it takes a village. So I have the village of girlfriends who, if I was not in town to take care of, they were there and they swooped in and they were like, this is not going to happen. But he has now lived on his own 3 years, and I have seen nothing but progress. I used to go to his apartment, and it was like a bomb went off in it. And now I can go to his apartment. It is neat. It is clean. He takes his medicine when he's supposed to. He does his laundry. Wow. He has his work schedule. He gets to work on time. He takes care of his car. He's doing really well.
Wow.
And it was really hard, Marianne.
It was really hard on him, but really, really hard on you.
On me. It was really hard to make him do it.
Yeah.
Because,
Are you doubting yourself? I mean, is that kind of where
you go to bed at night and you cry because the kid first of all, he's your kid. He's not living at home.
He's your baby.
He's my baby. He's not here under my roof.
Right.
And what could happen to him while he's not here? And then I would have to say to myself, but if he was at school right now, he would not be home and he would be doing things on his own and I would not be there to protect him and I'm not able to protect him anyway. We're powerless to protect the people we love.
Yeah.
And I had to just
And
I had to just suck it up and say, he needs to learn this because someday I'm not going to be here to take care of him.
Right.
And he needs to learn how to do this. So he's not going to college. Well, this is his life college.
Right, absolutely.
And this is what he's going to do.
And so he's at 24 and just in the last year or so, you've been able to let go a little bit, breathe a little bit.
Yeah, that's not getting any easier for me.
Right.
But I will say that, he looks terrific. And there was a long time
progress.
there, when he didn't, I could tell he hadn't taken a shower and I could tell that he was not taking care of himself. And I would go and no 23, 22, 21-year-old wants to be hanging out with their mom. But I can see progress in my son.
He's got a job, right?
He's got a job. He's well shaved and his hair looks nice and he's focused.
And he's having relationships?
He did for a short while. He had a lovely young lady in his life and that didn't work out and that was his decision. And I was like, well, kudos to you.
There you go, make a decision.
You made the decision, good for you. And I hope that he will find, everybody needs somebody to love. I hope that he will find somebody to love and spend life with. I think that's important. And so I have a much harder time with it than my son does.
Okay.
I still have it.
You still have a hard time.
Me.
Well, you had told me you learned something too, because as you learn about autism and as you learn about his diagnosis and everything, that you try to make a difference in ways that you thought were important.
Yes.
And it kind of drove him nuts.
Yes.
Because why did it drive him nuts?
Well, I thought that it would be wonderful if there was a facility, an apartment building, and for adults with developmental disabilities. And actually there are places, places in New Jersey, places in Philadelphia, all these wonderful apartments that are cropping up and beautiful residences. And I wanted to establish one here. And I really was gung-ho and I was going for it. And my son said, you do this and we're not gonna have a relationship. I will not, you're not my mom. And I was, like, I'm doing this for you. I said, you didn't ask me.
Yeah. So this was something that you found out was more about you.
Oh yeah, it was for me.
About him.
It was for me. It's fear, it's worry, it's who's gonna
let me fix it.
Let me fix it.
Yeah.
And it's control, and there is no control. And
so what's happening in his life now is he's getting strong, he's getting independent, he's able to tell you what doesn't work for him.
That's right.
He's able to tell a girlfriend, not so much right now.
That's right.
And so he's developing some really good and healthy boundaries and skills.
Yeah,
and all that is because you and your husband for many, many years, you know, they say diagnose early, intervene early, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it sounds to me like because you waited till he was 12,
We didn't know.
you didn't wait. Yeah, but
We didn't
you know,
wait.
you
We
know what I
just
mean.
didn't know.
You didn't find out till he's 12,
Yeah.
and so you're moving forward and you're doing some really, really healthy, loving stuff. And so here's an example of, so there wasn't a real early diagnosis, but you guys are seeing some really, really good changes. And a lot of it might have been because there wasn't an early diagnosis.
Sure. Well, Stewie always treated him like
Yeah.
you're just going to do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in a way, it was a blessing that we didn't find out till later.
Right. And so that was a really good thing in hindsight.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing. So Susan, can you give our audience any hindsight advice or anything that you would say to somebody just beginning this journey, just beginning to see quirks and things that are different, developmental delays, and they're scared?
Yeah, well,
And
of
they're
course.
nervous and they're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to those parents?
I think that I would tell them, you know, not to panic.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest that they try not to, and try not to write the end of the story in their head.
Great
you know,
idea.
we almost did that day when they said he would be home with us for forever and not do X, Y, and Z. And I could see both me and my husband were like, that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
This is where it ends. Well, you know, don't do that.
That's great.
God has the last word. Your kid has the last word. Things are coming down the pike. There's new therapies. Who knows? Maybe one day there'll be an excellent medication. I don't know. But don't write the ends of it right then and there. You know, if you think that the advice you're getting is good, take it. Go forward. If it's not meeting what stick up for your kid. Advocate for your kid. If it's not meeting what your child needs, go find something else. And I think I think though also because of our experience, the more you can expect the child to do for themselves, the more you can just say, you're doing that. You're setting the
Absolutely.
table. You're gonna go to that birthday party.
You're going to play football.
You're gonna play football. The more you sort of expect, it's not easy, and there'll be the tantrums and the meltdowns and all of those horrible things that you wish were not happening, and that you could melt into the floor yourself when they're happening in public. But I think that when you expect the better stuff from the child and the young adult, they give it eventually.
Yeah.
It's like when you play tennis or what have you, and you play with a better person, you play up.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. They play up.
They play up.
Susan, thank you so much. Thank you. Really, really good insight. And what I heard from Susan is she said, not only don't you write the end of the story when somebody gives you bad news, don't let anybody else write the end of your kid's story. Trust them, trust your gut, and go with the flow. Thanks for joining us.